Hello guys, and thank you for joining me again. Today I wanted to share with you my experience with the Mahjong or Moonman T5. Pretty actually interesting pen that I kind of like, to be honest. I like the design of it, I like the shape of it. Did not get a chance to actually test it yet. Since I got it last year, it's been patiently waiting in its queue, and today is the day where I decided to try it out. I got the green version with well, it has a very interesting design. It's kind of hard to see in this light, I guess, but basically it looks like somebody actually put some ink on the pen, and then maybe they use like a straw and blow the ink, then let it dry, and then maybe cover it in some type of shellac or something like that. It's very interesting. It doesn't seem like there's any marks that this is not as it will be a sticker or something like that. It seems that the design was done on the pen and then covered in shellac. I don't have another one to compare and see if the designs are exactly the same, but I assume that maybe they're not, and they're unique in their own way. Which, if that's true, that kind of makes it a very interesting fountain pen. You could say that your fountain pen is unique, basically. I was actually just taking a quick look at at the auction that I bought it from. I got it from eBay, this specific one, and the picture doesn't seem to match the same green pattern that I have, which I guess maybe there is some truth to it. This seems to be quite unique in their own way. For dimensions and for weight, you can look in the description. I posted those in there. Now, let's look at the pen. Starting with the nib, it's a fairly simple nib. Obviously, the version that I got, it's an extra fine. That's what I usually prefer. The interesting thing is that on the nib actually it says Moonman, and on the cap it says Mahjong. So now we see kind of a cross from the old name to the new name. The tip of the nib seems to be extra fine, so hopefully this time will be an extra fine. My previous experience with the A1 was not that great, and hopefully this time Moonman will sort of redeem himself if he can. I do like the section, it has this classic shape. The threads on the section are not bad at all, actually. They're you cannot even feel them if you really if you're writing and not thinking about them. It's like they're not even there, which is kind of cool. The nib, however, is not a nib unit. This is actually friction fitted. It's actually very nice, very smooth. You can remove it without any issue, and very easy to put back in. It looks like my camera has some issues focusing with this pen because it's kind of dark, so I apologize for the focusing issues. Other thing you get, well, you do get an ink window, you get a little bit of step up on at the barrel, and then the barrel just sweeps down to the piston knob. The piston knob is not very smooth. It's a little bit rough. You know, when you go to shopping and you get that cart with that wheel that it's not perfectly round and here and there has a flat spot and it's like it's going straight and then it's like thunk. Well, that's how this knob feels, and a little bit harsh to turn. It's not as smooth as the Hondi Yang that I tested last time. This one does have notches on the side, so you can definitely use a wrench key to open it up if you want to and service the piston. Haven't done it. I don't see any point to do it at this point in time. One annoying thing that I do find with this pen is that when the piston is down, it doesn't actually go all the way down. So you have a lot of gap between the piston head and the top of the feed, or where the feed will connect to the body. So that means that every time you'll fill up, you'll have this much amount of air. And the only way to eliminate that is by doing a two-fill process. I'll show you when I get to that point. But basically, if you're planning to just do one fill, you'll always have this much air in your pen. Annoying a little bit, but not a problem. You can go around it if you really want to. And again, I'll show you in the filling process. Other than that, balance-wise, it's actually pretty balanced. Without the cap, it's bang on in the middle, just like the Hondiang was. With the cap, well, with the cap, it's a little bit questionable because I personally, I wouldn't consider this pen postable. I mean, you can definitely put that there, but it's literally just the tip. And if you shake it, it kind of goes flying. And I don't know if I want to just jam it in because the insides are nothing but plastic and I don't want to ruin those threads. Speaking of the threads, be careful how you put the cap on. I had a couple of times when the cap kind of crossed a little bit, so I had to back up and then put it back in. I can still sort of open it in one movement. Almost crossed it there. So I assume for people that are doing this might be a little bit annoying because it might take a little bit to one cap. Personally, like I said in the past, I don't have a problem with that since I usually just do this. Pen, it's actually nicely weighted. I like it. And I like how the nib looks. It's a nice design. It completes itself very well. All right. So let me try and see how the nib works before inking it. I want to see how smooth it is. And if snags the paper in any way. Okay, so the nib it's actually quite smooth. Even without ink, it kind of glides on the page. And for a nib that it's extra fine, that's actually pretty good. On reverse, okay, I see an issue on reverse, like going this way, strokes. It seems like there's some misalignment, or maybe it wasn't polished properly because it kind of scratches the paper. I feel the scratch. Going the other way around seems to be fine. Okay, so this nib should be fine, should perform good. Kind of excited now, let's see. So let me try and fill it up quickly-ish. Okay, I have the paper here. Aha, I didn't forget this time. So basically, like I was saying, you do kind of have to do like a two filler. So basically, the first time, actually, I'll do it 3 times because the feed is not doesn't have ink in it, on it or in it, and that will give you more air gap. So if you go up and then down again and then fill it up, you should get a little bit more ink. Okay, so don't go all the way up the second time. Just leave a little bit of gap turn it around, and then just go all the way down. Then you'll see that the ink window it's well empty with nothing in it. And just to be sure, grab a piece of towel or paper, and then move the piston until you see the ink at the top. You'll kind of have to keep it upwards. I'm just showing you what's going on. So basically you'll have to keep it upwards and look at the ink window and make sure that the ink will reach all the way at the top here, and then you stop, and then you put it back into the bottle and fill it up again. So I'll have to do it this way so I can see, make sure I'm not spilling things. Sorry, I'm off camera. Okay, so basically you'll have the window like this, fully black. And then put it back into the ink bottle, turn the piston all the way. And now you have a full pen without a lot of, there's still going to be a little bit of air, but not that much. Just cleaning the section. Cleaning the nib a little bit. Okay. That should be ready for writing. Let me put the bottle away. Alright, so let's see how this nib feels with ink. Not bad, it's actually very smooth. Seems to be quite wet. And yeah, there is a finer line than the A1, that's for sure. Reverse wise, yeah, worked without a problem. Probably a little bit of smoothing on the reverse. I'll get rid of that snag on the downline. Nice so far. I like it. As for the fine line, well, I'll let you decide. Oh, just for, I guess, to compare, give me a second, reaching out for my... Okay, so for this, I haven't used them for a while. Still don't think it's like a 0.35. It's maybe more of a 0.5, looks like it. Yeah. So the extra fine is more of a 0.5 than... Which is not bad. It's somewhere between extra fine to fine. Not bad. Alright, so let's try and see how it'll perform on this paper, doing a longer session, and if there are going to be any issues with the flow of the ink or with the nib. This paper it's also a little bit more absorbent than the notepad that I'm using here as a test. Speaking of, this notepad, it's actually purchased from dollar store, believe it or not. And it's pretty good for ink. I never had issues with it except when I was testing the the Eero fountain pen, and it was putting down so much ink that it started feathering just in some parts. Anyway, going back to the drawing, I don't know what this is it. I don't know if it's like a cone or if it's like a flower. It's a very interesting thing that I always liked, and I took quite a few pictures of the tree. Again, unfortunately, I do not know what it is. Anyway, so I'll get to it. I'm gonna come back with the conclusions, and hopefully everything will work out okay. If not, I'll definitely let you know. All right, see you soon. Okay, so I'm almost done with this. There are a few things that I'm gonna finish off camera. Just wanted to end it for now here. So basically, when I was doing the border, it seems, the nib is extra fine. However, the flow on this paper was not the greatest. So as you can see, I had overlapping issues where the ink was a little bit dark as you overlap. As such, I decided not to go any further, plus it was taking a long time, so I just used my 0.7 technical pen to do the rest of the borders. I just kept this one just to show the difference. I'll come back with a technical pen and finish it so it matches the rest of it. It seems that with this ink and this nib, it was a little bit dry. It wasn't very wet, which is good in a way, but the problem is it kind of skips. So, for example, around here, as you can see, probably the skip marks. That's not me just trying to do it on purpose. This was the nib skipping. We wasn't doing the line properly, and I had to press a little bit harder than I would usually do in order to get the lines properly. I mean, I got in the rhythm of it, and I got it working, and it was all right in the end. Not not the best, but not the worst either. That's for sure. And then with the stapling, sometimes he wasn't actually getting the dot or barely getting it. And I had to press a couple of times, and then sometimes I had to actually come here and draw a few lines to get the ink flowing, and then it was working all over again. So I'll shove it off, no. So I'll check it up to maybe the nib and the ink combination, which was Noodler's Black. Didn't really work that well on this paper, but it does work very well on regular writing paper. Okay, hold on. Okay, so see, they dry up a little bit on me, even with the cap on. But as I write, it seems okay, and actually fairly wet-ish, I would say. Right, nothing wrong with it. Not extremely wet, but again, this could be maybe the ink, since it's carbon-based anyway. So what do I think overall? I actually like it. I don't need the cap, so for me it was an issue, but if you write usually with a cap, that's probably something that you'll not like. The step up here on the ink window, I had no issues with it. I had no issues with the threads in here. You feel them, but the hands glide over it very nicely. Also, the nib writes quite nicely. It's pleasant to hold. No issues with the section. Well, except maybe because, well, this could be also on me. Usually my hands are more oily than dry, so it does tend to slip a little bit. However, I'm usually holding, from what I've noticed, I'm holding it from here on the threads, and that helps with the grip. However, most probably you will gather a lot of dirt in there, and you'll have to clean it up. Other than that, absolutely no issue. I still, in the end, I still preferred Hondiang over this. Just overall seems much better. Like for Hondiang, I don't even feel the threads. And the nib, even though it's extra fine, noted as well, this worked way much better on the same paper with, I believe, the same ink. I don't remember. If not, it was the platinum. Anyway, so this felt much better on this paper and regular paper. This one, not so much. Works very well on normal paper. Drawing wise, I'll probably not use it again, at least now with this ink. Other than that, it's a good fountain pen. I actually like it. For the price you're paying for it, I don't think there's a lot that you could complain about it. I mean, you can definitely complain about it, but sorry, I was just opening it up, see exactly how much I pay for this. So I paid $35 Canadians, which is worth it in my opinion. Nothing wrong with it. Would I recommend it? Yes, nothing wrong with it. Piston nipper seems to be serviceable, and while yeah, you have that issue with the air gap and you have to double fill it, you could in a sense remove the nib and the feed and use like a syringe to fill it up and not actually use the piston, basically treat it as an eyedropper. The hole in there after you remove the nib and feed is large enough to let a syringe get in there without an issue. So great pen. I mean, you'll get a unique design as well, because from what I can see, what I can tell, and all the pictures that I've seen is like these, they tend to be unique for the pen, which is nice. It's a really nice touch. So great pen, great nib. I like it. Hope you'll enjoy it. Anyway, so this was it for me for this time. I'll come back next time, maybe with another vintage fountain pen that I have in my collection. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure yet. And there are a few other things that I'm planning to, and I can't wait to share them with you. Thanks a lot for joining me again. I hope you found this review and my thoughts helpful. And I'll finish up whatever I have to finish off camera, and I'll post the final result on my Instagram. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.